In September 2008, the global financial system collapsed under the weight of its own corruption. Banks that had preached stability for generations crumbled in days. Governments poured trillions of taxpayer dollars into institutions that had gambled with the world's savings. Ordinary citizens lost homes, jobs, and dignity, while executives walked away, protected by legal immunity and golden parachutes. From this chaos, a single question began to haunt the modern world. If money could be manipulated, printed, devalued, and weaponized by the few, what did freedom even mean? Then, in the shadow of this collapse, a message appeared on a cryptography forum. It was quiet, technical, almost invisible. A white paper titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Its author was unknown, its intentions were uncompromising, and its creation would go on to challenge the very foundations of global finance. Bitcoin did not begin as wealth. It began as defiance, against central banks, against monetary manipulation, against a system where power was consolidated and accountability was optional. In just over a decade, Bitcoin would evolve from obscure experiment to trillion-dollar market force, compelling governments, corporations, and financial empires to respond to a technology they did not create and could not fully control. So the question is no longer whether Bitcoin matters. The question is this: how did a decentralized digital experiment rise to become a global economic power capable of reshaping the future of money itself? Bitcoin did not emerge in prosperity. It was born from crisis, mistrust, and a profound fracture in belief. The 2008 global financial crisis exposed the parasite behind modern banking. Institutions that advertised prudence had engineered complex derivatives, reckless lending, and predatory speculation. When the system failed, it was not dismantled, it was rescued. Governments printed money at unprecedented rates to stabilize the same structures that had caused the disaster. Accountability was replaced with liquidity. Moral responsibility was replaced by emergency policy. This moment planted the seed of Bitcoin's necessity. Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper was released in October 2008. Embedded in Bitcoin's first block was a message from the Times newspaper: Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. This was not random, it was a declaration. Bitcoin was designed as an alternative monetary system, one that operated beyond central banks, government interference, and institutional corruption. It was a system built on mathematics instead of trust, transparency instead of secrecy, and decentralization instead of hierarchy. At the heart of Bitcoin was the blockchain, an immutable ledger, recording every transaction permanently and transparently. No authority could alter it, no state could censor it, no institution could monopolize it. Money had been liberated from physical borders. For the first time in history, individuals could possess wealth without permission, value without intermediaries, and store purchasing power beyond the reach of inflationary manipulation. Bitcoin was radical. It inverted centuries of centralized control, and history would soon realize that this was not merely technological innovation. It was monetary revolution. Bitcoin's evolution did not occur overnight. It progressed through stages that reshaped global perception of money. In its early years, Bitcoin was dismissed as an ideological novelty. Developers mined it out of curiosity. Hobbyists experimented with it. Critics scoffed at its lack of intrinsic value. Governments ignored it. But Bitcoin possessed two revolutionary qualities. First, scarcity. Only 21 million Bitcoins would ever exist. This fixed supply contrasted violently with fiat currencies that could be printed infinitely at political convenience. Second, decentralization. No single authority controlled Bitcoin. Its validation was distributed across a decentralized network of miners enforcing protocol through consensus. These two features positioned Bitcoin as digital scarcity, something civilization had never witnessed before. As inflation rose globally and fiat currencies weakened under excessive printing, Bitcoin transformed from payment curiosity into store of value. Investors compared it to gold. Analysts labeled it digital gold. Institutions began to notice. Soon, Bitcoin's utility extended beyond ideology. It became hedge against inflation. It became protection from capital controls. It became sovereign wealth for individuals. Major corporations accumulated Bitcoin as a treasury asset. Hedge funds diversified portfolios. Nations debated legal recognition. El Salvador adopted it as legal tender. The narrative evolved rapidly. Bitcoin was no longer rebellion. It was infrastructure. Bitcoin's true threat lies not in price volatility, but in its challenge to centralized power. Modern governments derive immense influence from controlling currency. By issuing fiat, states fund wars, manipulate interest rates, subsidize debt, and shape economic outcomes without direct taxation. Bitcoin removes this ability. It introduces a monetary system where issuance is calculated, rules are fixed, and authority is algorithmic. This shift redefines power. Central banks lose monopoly over money creation. Governments lose absolute control over capital flow. Institutions lose dominance over financial infrastructure. The implications are geopolitical. Bitcoin weakens the petrodollar system. It offers alternative settlement beyond sanction reach. It allows wealth mobility independent of national allegiance. This redistribution of power disturbs the world order, not through violence, but through code. Power no longer resides solely in institutions. It migrates to networks, to protocol, to cryptographic law, and this migration forces the most powerful financial entities on Earth to adapt, regulate, and even participate in what they once attempted to suppress. Bitcoin, once an outsider, now stands as a parallel financial authority. Bitcoin's influence extends across multiple layers of modern economics. It has transformed investment strategies by introducing a decentralized asset class. It reshaped debates on monetary policy. It forced regulatory reform. It transformed consumer understanding of wealth sovereignty. In emerging economies, Bitcoin provides protection against hyperinflation. In authoritarian regimes, it offers resistance to financial censorship. In unstable systems, it becomes a portable vault of stability. Its infrastructure fuels new industries, blockchain development, crypto finance, decentralized applications, tokenized assets, and digital settlement platforms. Bitcoin also redefines narrative. It transforms wealth from state framed to individual owned. It reframes money as digital energy rather than sovereign decree. It redefines savings as sovereignty rather than compliance. This psychological impact may surpass its technical one. The world no longer assumes centralized money is untouchable, and once belief shifts, systems follow. Bitcoin is not a trend. It is a signal of transformation. It represents a challenge to every monetary system built on inflationary authority and centralized control. It forces the world to confront an uncomfortable reality. Money must evolve, but evolution never arrives peacefully. Resistance will grow. Regulation will tighten. Control will attempt to reassert itself. Yet history reminds us of one undeniable truth. Technologies that redistribute power cannot be erased. They can only be integrated or resisted until adaptation becomes inevitable. Bitcoin stands at the center of that inevitability, whether it becomes a global reserve asset, a parallel financial backbone, or the blueprint for future decentralized economies. Its impact is irreversible. The world does not decide whether Bitcoin wins. The world decides how it responds to what Bitcoin has already changed, because the most dangerous moment is not disruption. It is the moment power forgets that control was never permanent, and right now, hidden beneath market cycles and government assurances, Bitcoin continues to evolve quietly, rewriting the rules of global economic power.